2000. Moise was still nonverbal at this point, and his lying down behavior was very much prevalent. He wouldn't respond to his name. I didn't think much of that, again, because the doctors in Pakistan had told me that he was fine. There was nothing wrong with him. So I put Moise in a preschool, and he went to that preschool for about 6 months or so. And the one memory I have of those times or those days is that he would come home from the preschool, and he would come and lie down in my lap and drink his bottle of milk while caressing my face. And this behavior was like almost, it was a predictable pattern that would happen every single day. I felt that it was a good bonding experience between him and me because there was no language and other ways of communication. Now that I think of it, there was no joint attention also. Like, he wouldn't really point at things and share his delight or otherwise with me. Or frankly, even play-wise, I think it was more isolated play. There was not much reciprocity, but I didn't have any other children to compare Moise with, so life went on. And but that there was something nagging me that something is not right. So after 6 months or so of him going to the preschool, I went and saw the preschool principal, and I asked her point blank. I said, something is off. What do you think about Moise? And she said that, oh yeah, you know what? I think you should take him out of school. You should maybe show him to a paediatrician. And I was kind of flabbergasted, thinking that, what had she been waiting for? Had I not gone to see her, she wouldn't have said anything to me. Anyway, I was too much of I would say, a chooser. That's the word you use, Urdu word you use for a chick at that point, to say anything to the school principal. And I just made an appointment, and I went to see a pediatrician. And the pediatrician looked at Moise, observed him, took a bit of history from me, and just told me that, you know what, he's PDD. I didn't know what that meant. Later I was to find out it means pervasive development disorder. That's what he has. And she suggested that I take him out of the preschool, put him into a special school. And then she gave me the best piece of advice that anyone has given me. She said, go and see a therapist yourself. When she said that to me, I was like, why would she say that? Why did I need to go see a therapist? I mean, here, my kid has the issue, the stuff going on with him. Why would I need to see a therapist? But trust me, that is something that I did do, and I'm so glad I did. But more about that later. So then from that day, I made an appointment with a specialist in the National University Hospital of Singapore, where Usman and we took Moise for an assessment. And that day is clearly etched in my mind. I remember sitting there in the waiting room, and this young couple behind us, and this woman had a little baby, an infant in her arms, and she was covering his face. And she was crying, and she kept on saying repeatedly, she would say that, but this is my child, but this is my child. And the way she was lovingly holding the baby and looking at him, and the husband is trying to console her. Possibly there was some genetic issues with the kid. But I remember thinking at that point, I remember my heart going out to her at that point and thinking, oh my God, what's waiting for us in the specialist's office? And then we went to see the specialist, and he told us quite frankly that, okay, Moise has autism. And he wrote down some kind of a memo. And I clearly remember that the memo said something about mental retardation as well. And that's the word, more than the autism, that's the word that really struck me, because that was the word I was used to back in Pakistan, hearing that with all sorts of negative connotations. And we went back home. I think Usman and I both were kind of shell shocked. I remember I kept on looking at the memo again and again, reading it again and again, that, okay, really, is this true? What is this saying? Is this about my child? And the strongest feeling I had at that point was of fear of not knowing who my kid was. Suddenly I felt like I didn't know who Moise was. Although it was just this one label that was now attached to him, I didn't know my kid. Of course, that was my perception at that point, and it was wrong, because I did know my child. But, it just felt like, I honestly, I don't have the words for it. I don't think any parent would have the words for it, for that experience. So that was, how Moise got diagnosed with ASD.